threaten to hit me again, I will take this pen and I will stab it through your eye socket.
Hi,
and that won't kill you.
Hey, we're doing the podcast. He called it the GoProClip show. I think it's kind of lame. But this is the Blaze and
welcome
Myles
to the GoProClip
comedy
show.
podcast.
Do you think that what I did just now was annoying? Because for the listeners at home, if this is your first time listening to the GoProClip show, which is a great name, thank you guys so much for joining us. What this is like a video.
I took this footage of this caterpillar, by the way. I just didn't want to get past this without people knowing that I'm an expert cinematographer. Okay, go on.
What this is a video pod. Do you see how I just completely... I have that ability. That's called compartmentalization, where you deal with a certain issue so many times you just know how to put it away in your brain. This is the GoProClip show, you guys. What this is like a video... Okay, now you really did mess up my train of thought. This is a video podcast. We show a bunch of nature footage primarily, as you can see already, from our various hikes and swimming adventures here in the great city of San Diego, California. So much beautiful nature out here, guys. You're going to love it. And then we just do, I guess, a comedy podcast or commentary about the footage over it. So this is Los Penasquitos Canyon in San Diego, California. That is Blaze wearing his sweatshirt like a woman would in the 90s. Not really a fashionable woman these days, but a woman in the 90s. That's how they wore them.
Well, I try to make myself more endearing, and I feel
look
like
at him, a little sassy Blaze, putting his hands on his hips, watching the water. So yeah. Anyways, guys, it's gonna be a fun show. Where was I? Oh, so this is the third time we've restarted the podcast because I just don't think the Blaze is getting the energy right, and we're trying to do a good job here for the fans. For the people that are listening for the first time, I don't want them to get the wrong impression of Blaze because he is my friend, but I think if you guys just hear him off the bat, he comes off a little stupid and a little annoying and a little rude sometimes. So I just hope that I hope you guys get a good impression of him. So that's all I want to say. I want to just preface it by saying that he frustrates me a lot, guys, but he is a good guy and he's trying his best. So I'm sorry. Did you have anything else to say, Mr. Cinematographer?
What's the next topic?
That wasn't a topic. That was just me introducing you to everybody because.
Okay, I would have just said, this is Blaze. He's a stand-up comedian from San Diego.
I'm a stand-up comedian, too.
But you don't do stand-up.
I've done stand-up.
Okay.
It's like a veteran. It's like if you fought in a war one time, you're a veteran forever. And that's what I am, a veteran of comedy. I did my time, and maybe I'll come back. I don't know. I did my
4-year mandatory 4 years, and then now you're out.
And then I can re-enlist. Do you want to come back do these fucking open mics with these idiots? We went back to an open mic.
You didn't go up though.
I didn't go up, but I went there and I was like, I get it. I get it. After doing it for enough time, that's a veteran move to look at it and be like, I'm fine. There was nothing like, what am I supposed to do? I go up. You went up there.
Crushed.
You did better than I thought you would. I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
I didn't think you were going to do well because the guy before you was doing pretty well, and I was like, well, I don't know if Blaze can follow this. And then you did really well, and I was actually pretty impressed. But at the same time, if I were to go up before you there's no way that you'd be able to compete, and I shouldn't.
Everyone would have left.
No.
Yeah.
Well, they would have left satisfied. Yeah, they probably would have been like, "Who am I going to see better than that at this time of night? At 1:30 on a Thursday, who am I going to see better?"
It was 11:30.
11:30. Yeah, this is a really actually a very kind of almost enchanted forest, one would say. I think it's a very beautiful place. I've been coming here for many years, and I always love it, guys. I always love it. There's me, and I don't look happy just because that's my resting facial expression, but I actually am quite content out in these woods. I wish the camera wasn't shaking so much, but I can't control that. So that's okay. That's what I'm learning through therapy. I can't control everything. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You had something to say?
No. I was letting you run it down.
Run it down? What does that mean, run it down?
I don't know.
So, okay. You shouldn't have edited it that way. So now I'm kind of getting a little bit more frustration. So out of 10, the scene before, I was at about a 3 because you were shaking the camera a lot. This is probably closer to a 7 because of the editing you did, because these trees aren't purple. This isn't...
Well, the sky was purple, a little bit purple that day. I just kind of enhanced it.
Yeah, you can hardly tell. Wow, you enhanced that. It looks really good.
Yeah, I like how that looks.
Comment down below if you think that Blaze should just stick to nature and not try to... What is this? This looks terrible. I mean, it looks so stupid.
What? Well,
that's not the color. There's people that are like... I'm not one of those people that... I appreciate art and I appreciate the abstract. This is a little bit too abstract for me, to be honest. Or maybe I just don't like the type of abstract it is. But I actually enjoy that type of stuff. There are people that don't, but I'm not one of them. There he is. There's little Blaze.
I feel like you're obsessed with me. You're just talking about me constantly.
I'm talking about you constantly because you're the person that is running through my nightmares all the time because of the things that you do. Because we've spent 12 hours together today, which is the longest time I've spent with you in a while. It's been like 2 weeks that we haven't spent that much time together. We did go on a trip. But you do things to get under my skin that are just...
Well, I think it's just because you have PTSD, so you're more sensitive.
I don't have PTSD.
Well, then that makes sense.
You were the one that's been saying you have PTSD recently, which is another thing. This is, okay, point one. This is a thing that you do that annoys me. You lie.
Yeah.
You lie. Oh, I can't do that. Sorry. 2 weeks ago.
It's called doing bits.
Probably less than that.
You say I'm lying, but it's just...
7 to 10 days ago, Blaze starts telling me he has PTSD that suddenly sprung up. Oh, I can't do that. Sorry, I have PTSD. Oh, you're making my PTSD activated. Oh, I have PTSD. Yeah. So I actually have the signs and symptoms here of PTSD. We're going to start with symptoms. I'm going to read them to you, and then you tell me which ones you actually have, okay? So we'll go through right now, once and for all. And if you don't get a passing score on this, which is my determination, then we'll just drop it once and for all. You can't say you have PTSD anymore. How's that sound?
I don't agree. I could say what I need to say. Given
Okay.
What I need from
Symptom 1: recurrent, unwanted, distressing memories of the traumatic event.
No, not really. I mean, I think about stuff sometimes, but it's not really like reoccurring or unwanted. Like it'll go away.
Okay. Reliving the traumatic event as if it were happening again. Flashbacks.
No, that's never happened to me.
Okay, so you're 0 for 2 so far in terms of symptoms. So I'm waiting for you to...
Well, I mean, I've had distressing memories before.
Upsetting dreams or nightmares about the traumatic event.
Not the traumatic event, but I've had nightmares.
I'll give you a 0.5 for that one. So right now, just counting up your points. Out of the first 3, you have a 0.5.
Okay.
Severe emotional distress or physical reaction to something that reminds you of the traumatic event. I think I'll actually, you know what? I'll give you a point that one because you are constantly complaining and crying about things. I'm not obsessed with you. I'm not obsessed with you, but when you constantly tell me you have PTSD or you can't do something or you're too hungry to function or you're going to die or you're going to kill yourself if you don't get your way, those types of things make it so I focus in on you.
No.
It's like, it's like me driving and a guy keeps cutting into my lane.
That's not how
and then it's like, it's like this guy's obsessed with me.
That's
yeah.
beautiful footage.
It is a beautiful, yeah. So 1.5 so far. So then here.
Okay, so what do you have of that? Because do you have PTSD or not?
I was clinically diagnosed with it. I don't know if I have it or not.
Yeah, by a bunch of amateur doctors.
Out of these 4 symptoms, I have recurrent, unwanting, distressing memories. I have reliving the traumatic event as if it were happening again. I don't have that. I've never relived an event.
Never had like a flashback where you're like...
Where I'm thinking about a conversation I've had with you and how traumatic it was for me. No, I don't think that... I don't think that I have that. I think I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't know what a flashback is, but I don't think that I have a flash. I think I have moments where things connect to me. Upsetting dreams or nightmares. Yeah, sure, I have that. Severe emotional distress or physical reaction, something that reminds you of the traumatic event. The thing is, I don't think it was like the thing. I think that yes to most of these, but in parts, I don't think that this is a really good list, to be honest with you, because in my personal opinion, the things that I was diagnosed with, I think that they just say that. The doctors just say that. If you, I was a first responder.
Well, that's why I'm able to say that I have PTSD, even though...
Okay, then that's, you know what, oddly, I do agree with you in that sense. Maybe you do, because... What they do, I think, for first responders and for military people is they don't really have a concept. Unless that doctor actually did any of that stuff, they don't really understand, because it's like, yeah, I mean, I had to go to a doctor for mental health issues. And they were basically like, "Oh yeah, you probably have PTSD." Literally the doctor's like, "Oh yeah. And then he just offers you drugs. I mean, that's all that I really. And then all the therapists I went to were like, I never felt like they really gave me any sort of like, "Oh wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that dealing with some of that stuff stresses you out. Thank you so much for explaining that to me." That's what I would describe it as. So it's like, yeah, they just say everybody has PTSD because like by that, literally, like what is a traumatic event?
Well, like I told
anything that happened in your life.
When I was a little kid, I lived 45 minutes away from this city, and my mom brought me home a Jack in the Box burger, and I was eating it outside, or I started to eat it outside when one of my dogs came up and pulled it out of my hand, and I wasn't able to eat that night.
Yeah, and for I'll say this, special, wink wink, for a special guy like you, that probably is a traumatic event. You not getting your food in time, a dog stealing your food.
Yeah.
That's probably, to you, trauma. And to me, it's something that a child would...
That was my second traumatic event. My first traumatic event was my circumcision. Those are the two things.
Okay, so you're reliving your circumcision. So you have a really good memory, I guess, is your problem.
Yeah.
You memorize... being a very small child. Okay. So you're constantly reacting to that. So you don't... Yeah. So if anybody has a knife near your dick, you're like... Yeah. Oh my God, I'm getting freaked out right now.
My wienos again.
That's my other thing too, is like, what do you mean? Like sometimes it's like... Yeah, of course. I don't understand because people have accused me of having PTSD. Like literally accused me of being like, oh, we used to have PTSD. Well, it's like, no, I'm just being smart right now. Like when I say I want a gun and they're like, oh, we have PTSD because you're a victim of gun violence. It's like, well, no, I didn't like the feeling of being in a situation, a shooting where I did not have a gun.
Oh, wait, do you own a gun?
Not here, no. Okay. Not at this house.
I didn't think you owned a gun.
Or would you be worried? Everybody says I can't have a gun. I should be allowed to have a gun because it's not one of those things where it's like, I never get like catatonic. I have stress. Everybody who's been a first responder, I will tell you this right now, has some form of PTSD by these definitions. So here's my personal PTSD story. I didn't want to get into this, but
we haven't even gone through all the symptoms yet.
Oh, I know, but you're getting me to talk, and I'm explaining it to you. I'm just saying what the system is. Okay, first responders are underpaid and overworked, just in general across the board. That is fucking true. Okay, you all get PTSD. Look at this. Okay, so I'll read it right now. Negative thoughts about yourself or other people in the world. Yes, of course, because you're seeing horrible things every day. You eventually would have... Yes, I would have to cross off yes from every one of these. Hopelessness about the future. No, I don't have that. I'm realistic. I think some people can... You can get that during certain times when you see something that's like, oh, that's really awful.
Dude, I have that one. That's the only one for sure that
hopelessness
I have.
About the future, yeah.
I for sure have hopelessness about the future.
Well, I mean, that's because you're very self-aware.
Yeah.
Memory problems. Including remembering important aspects of the traumatic event.
Not remembering.
Sure, but I mean, it's like everybody has all these. Difficulty maintaining close relationships. Sure, yeah. I mean, is that feeling detached from family or friends? Yes. I'm sounding more and more depressed, but I'm just saying it's like this is all normal. I feel like everybody. To be honest with you, I feel like most people would say yes to this. Lack of interest in activities you once enjoyed. So this sounds like depression.
Yeah, this isn't that.
Well, or difficulty experiencing positive emotions.
Feeling a bit blue.
Feeling emotionally numb. I feel like everybody has that, especially after COVID and everything. Yeah. People always... Changes in physical or emotional reactions. Okay, here's the fun ones. Being easily startled or frightened. No. Well, maybe. Yeah. Whoa. That's a startling image. It's a picture of you. That's why I said that.
You're always being on guard for danger.
Yeah, but that's just... I feel like that's just smart. I don't understand. Yeah. That's again, self-destructive behavior, such as drinking too much or driving too fast. No, I don't drink. I have not drank for many years. I think it's just better for me. So no.
I drink too much like juice, and I think that's contributed to some of my weight issues, and that's a self-destructive behavior.
I agree with that. Thank you for saying that. That is more... Yes, you have too many...
What about this editing? I think this looks cool.
Did I call you the R word already in this podcast? I can't remember, but I definitely am feeling it right now. There's me. I like that picture. Man, that's back when I didn't shave my head. Okay, so I'm going through the list some more, though. Trouble sleeping. Sure, everybody has that. Trouble concentrating. Yes, everybody has that. Irritability, angry outburst, or aggressive behavior. I'll cop to that one. You don't have that.
Well, I have some irritability.
You irritate other people. I've never seen you irritable.
Well, isn't that what it means? I'm an irritant.
You're an irritant. Angry outbursts, sure, I have that. But again, it's like I spend so much time with you.
Shut up.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I have some outbursts.
Do you see what I mean?
About that.
That's
overwhelming
irritability. It's like how much time do I spend with you per day? And you are the most irritable person I've ever met.
Aggressive.
And you know
okay, so you're demonstrating aggressive behavior right
That's
now.
not aggressive. That's just me being honest.
I'm trying to look at this rationally without getting upset at you. It's just his PTSD, and this is just how his symptoms manifest by him being very aggressive right now. But
do you see what I'm saying? Where it's like, oh, are you just with the most fucking annoying person you've ever met? Is the person that your closest friend is are they also the most annoying person you've ever met? Oh, they are. So then, yeah, that's why I'm a little bit irritable sometimes. It's like, I don't feel irritable when someone doesn't call me and tell me they have PTSD and that's why they can't do something.
Do you ever?
That makes me irritable. Okay, go back to the list. All right, so now I'm getting fucking heated.
Overwhelming guilt or shame?
No, but I think that's specific to people that have certain types of traumas. I won't say what.
I have a lot of that. I've
intensity. So I don't think I was diagnosed with this by multiple doctors, and I really don't think I meet like half of these I meet a lot of the qualifications, but I would say that most people meet a lot of these qualifications, and it doesn't mean...
These just seem like depression, almost. Except for the frightened one, but yeah.
Easily startled, but that's just scaredy cats people.
Yeah.
Some people don't like haunted houses. Do they have PTSD? Yeah. And then so this one is causes of PTSD. Okay. So
being involved in a car crash. Well, one time when I was with my mom, she hit a deer. And then I've been in a car crash, actually. Yeah, I've been in a car crash. I didn't get hurt, though.
Thank God you're okay. Yeah, I would say that, being involved in a car crash, okay, that makes sense. I was involved in a couple car crashes. I think a lot of first responders are because you're going somewhere with lights and sirens and people are attracted to the cars. But I don't have any trauma about that. I just am a safe driver. Yeah. Being raped or sexually assaulted. Yeah, I think that's kind of a no-brainer. I don't even know if this is on... There's certain ones that shouldn't be on this list. Being raped or sexually assaulted, it's like, I would say that you would have PTSD from that. I think that's a fair assessment.
Depends on what end of that you're on.
Blaze.
I think you'd have it both ways, maybe.
You think there's a
It's
guy...
1 in 3. They said 1 in 3 people get PTSD from traumatic events. So there's a possibility that you don't get it.
Being tortured. That's the second. So yeah, again, I would say if you're... Okay, I'll go on a limb here. If you've been tortured before and you survive, I'm going to go on a limb and say that you would think about that again later in your life. There's some point where you're like, I really don't want to get tortured again.
But then that's a cool shot. But then it's so vague, it's like, hanging out with you can be torture.
Hilarious. What a great joke. So we'll move on. Being abused, harassed, or bullied, including racism, sexism, homophobia, biphobia, or transphobia, and other types of abuse targeting your identity.
Well, I've been called fat before.
But that's a recent thing. You weren't all... Well, yeah, maybe. What is your PTI... So, because it's funny they don't have fat on there. That's
and also, I'm not gay, but I've been called gay.
Does it hurt more? Well... Maybe that's kind of your identity, as a guy who's fat and gets called gay a lot.
Yeah. Oh, this is my panoramic shot.
Yeah, what a fat gay guy would think that's really cool.
Oh, I should have did a zoom on it.
Yeah.
And then
definitely should have.
I forgot about
it. Being kidnapped, held hostage, or any event which you fear for your life. Okay, who made this list? Because I don't like how they go from like, if you've been bullied before, you may have PTSD, and then it's like, if you've been kidnapped, held hostage, then you also may have PTSD. It's like, well, yeah. Experiencing violence. Seeing people hurt or killed. Including in the course of your job. Sometimes called secondary trauma.
And then I also read that
I guess I've seen people hurt or killed, sure. doing a job where you repeatedly hear or see distressing things, such as working in emergency services or armed. Okay, so I meet that quality.
That's where you're
or
from.
Armed forces.
But I read that you could get PTSD from watching videos of death on the internet too.
So that's where you're getting it from, is voluntarily watching combat footage from Kiev.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it probably just makes you more numb. But okay, my point here is that like I think everybody by these standards would have PTSD. I don't understand who doesn't have PTSD. Like, yeah, I'm saying, okay, so I was a first responder. I was in a shooting incident off duty. Both of those things have made me more apprehensive around crowds. I don't think that it's to a point where I shouldn't have a gun. I shouldn't be allowed to have a gun. Because every time I try to get a gun now, people are like, oh, well, you have PTSD. And I'm like, that's not it.
You shouldn't have a gun because I'm a liberal. That's my idea. I want.
That's more what it's like.
Yeah, you're not allowed to have a gun.
Yeah, no gun for you.
You're
That's
gonna,
more
what are
what
you gonna
they're
shoot
saying.
me?
Yeah, that literally they're just like,
F-word that.
What are you gonna do? Kill yourself or kill somebody else? I'm like, no, I just want a gun. It's just cool. I just want to feel like a big man for once in my life.
Dude,
that's all.
Woo! Yeah, I just want to like brandish it to the guy who just cut me off.
I just want to show it once in a while to meet a. This is back in my single days. If I was single, I would have a gun for sure. That'd be my go-to move.
Oh yeah.
If I pull it out and I'm like, oh, I'm not trying to threaten you. I'm just trying to show you how cool I am. I have a gun here. I have a gun here. I just wanted to impress you. No, but I mean, I honestly think that like the reason that first responders don't get paid a lot, just like the armed forces, they don't get paid a lot, and they want you to do this job because that keeps the military-industrial complex, that keeps the system going. And so then they're just like, oh yeah, you have PTSD, here's some drugs. So you don't really know. They don't spend any time, just from somebody who's been through that experience, talk to anybody who's been to the VA, talk to anybody who's from like, first responder who's had a traumatic incident. I had a traumatic incident where I was supposed to go to a shrink, and I feel like it's just kind of a circle jerk. That's what I honestly think. I think that all that stuff, all it did to me in my brain is make me feel, I would say, like a lot of people are full of shit. And I don't have time for people that are full of shit. That's the only thing I would say is different about my personality. Whereas before I was a lot more like willing to give people a chance. And now it's like, no, you're wrong.
I'd say if you don't have PTSD, you've lived a pretty charmed life.
Yep. That's your takeaway. You were not listening at all.
No.
I can tell you were staring at the footage.
I was looking at the bird.
You were looking at the bird and you were thinking, oh, I want... See, that's the thing is like the most stressful moments in my... And literally, I've had some really... some people would definitely say traumatic events happen to me, but like...
A guy exploding on you, that's just gross. It's not really traumatic.
No, that's the thing is I don't... The way that I think of it is like... If you're expecting it, then it's not... I just don't feel like it's... I don't know. If you're like a first responder or a military person, tell me if I'm wrong here, but my personal experience is if you're expecting it, then I don't feel like it's the same thing.
You sound exactly like the Joker in The Dark Knight, because he has that famous sort of speech where about everything going to plan. But and then he blows up a hospital and everyone loses their mind.
Do you see what I mean? Where it's like any time being spent with you is so much more traumatic than anything else I've had to deal with in my life. That's what I'm saying is like it's the people that get PTSD that I think that really have bad PTSD, and this is just from my observation. I think that mine is not crippling. I think that whatever I was diagnosed with is like, anxiety related to work stress. I think everybody has that because they put you on an ambulance and you're working so many back-to-back shifts that like it just gives you an incredible stress. For sure. You have calls that are incredibly bad. And that gives you... How do I say this? It gives you mental health problems for sure, but it's not necessarily PTSD. I think it's more depression than PTSD for most people. PTSD for me, the way that I would classify it... How do I say this? How do I explain this? I think that PTSD that is like crippling is more from some sort of unexpected thing, because it's like in your head again, if you're a first responder, if you're a military person, let me know how you feel about this. But the way that I always noticed it, and the things that really messed with me mentally, were things that I was not expecting to happen. The shooting affected me more because I was off duty. I was not you know what I mean? If I'm at work on the ambulance, or if I'm responding to a call and somebody pulls out a gun, I'm a lot more prepared for that mentally because I know what environment I'm in. If I'm just hanging out with my friends and a guy pulls out a gun, which is what happened, and starts shooting into a crowd, that's different. Just like when people that who have like IEDs, like that's like an unexpected thing. And so people get stressed from that sort of thing.
Well, if anything, did the ambulance job ever make you feel better? Like, you see a guy having a heart attack, you're like, well, I'm not having a heart attack. I'm better off than that guy.
In the moment, I'm like, man, I am watching him have a heart attack. I'm like, man, you gotta just count your blessings. You think that's what yeah. Okay, we took a quick break because I just wanted to clarify. I was trying to vocalize it, and Blaze said it a little bit better, but I'm not one of the suck it up type people. I just want to say that. There was a guy that an older guy, this really did happen. We had to watch a video about post-traumatic stress because people on our job had killed themselves. And they made us watch a video, and then this guy was like, you know what I say? He's like, get over it. That's the type of dude he was. He was like, come on, don't be a pussy, basically is what he's saying. That's stupid. You know, people have, like, any first responder, any military personnel who've seen combat, for sure, they are high risk for post-traumatic stress. But like you said it better in the break, there's nuance, and it's not exactly what you said. It's not like the stereotypical, like, oh, I'm just free, I can't do anything. Because, like, my parents, you know, I'm not super close with one of my parents, but my other one doesn't understand what I'm saying if I'm just like, yeah, this is how it works. Because they asked me, but it's like, neither one of them have experienced anything like that. And so they asked me questions about it, and the way that I try to describe it is like, yeah, you look at the world differently. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. I didn't really say it clearly before because I was kind of jumbled with my thoughts, but I just had to take a second to collect myself because I don't want to be disrespectful to anybody that has done that stuff. Like, thank you for your service. If you're a first responder or if you're a military person, I totally get it. I totally understand what you're going through. I would say that the hardest struggle for people that have done that type of thing, in all honesty, if I'm being really genuine, is it's very hard to connect with other people because people don't understand exactly what you're saying. Because I don't even know how to vocalize it. It's just different. I don't know how to say it because I have so many feelings about these things.
I know like 3 people with PTSD, and I feel like I connect with them because I find them easier to trigger than regular people.
Yeah, you're the poltergeist. And
really easy to irritate.
You look for a soul. Well, you couldn't trigger me even if you tried because I know all your little games.
Yeah.
And the thing is, my PTSD exposure, it'd make it very easy for me to kill you. So it's like, for you, it's like, I'll give you PTSD. You go, but that's what I'm saying is like, it also depends on what you were. Because I look at some of the people on this list, like torture or... Not to laugh, but Jesus Christ, if you're fucking tortured, I think we could say clearly that you have something mentally wrong with you after that. It's not your fault. But being abused or being tortured or being anything where you're more of a victim, I understand how that is a different type of PTSD. But you have to remember that first responders, military people, you're trained to deal with that sort of thing. Yeah. So the shooting, do you want me to explain that? Or I don't know if you want me to explain what that...
Well, it was just it's just a typical public shooting.
Yeah, but yeah, sure. It was a typical,
but targeted at individuals, but still public.
Sure.
Yeah.
But that I was not expecting. So that was a moment in my mind where things really switched for me for a while because I wasn't expecting to be in that situation at that time. So then things that I'd seen as a first responder became a lot more... I had trouble differentiating the two because I was like, oh, well, now I'm on my time off and things like this are happening. So maybe it is everywhere. And that got me really paranoid.
Were you still working as a first responder when the shooting happened?
I just quit.
Yeah.
I had just quit
so
to
it's just
focus to do comedy. It was within like a couple months. It was pretty close. But because I did know people. I worked with a guy who killed himself. That I did know. There's other people that I know that have killed themselves. There's people that I know that. A lot of people that I worked with, I obviously would never reveal names. I'm not going to do that. That is fucking that's just not right.
Nobody asked you to.
Okay, I will if you I will on my Patreon. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. On my Patreon, I'll say whatever. No, but the people that there's so many factors. The brain is so complicated. It's incredibly difficult to say what exactly. I won't do stand up anymore, and it's for sure because of anxiety around crowds. I hate going. We went to the Madhouse, the comedy club, and I fucking hate being around drunk people. I hate being in crowds now because it's not that I can't function there, it's that I can't be funny in that situation because I'm constantly looking at people like
you're on guard.
I'm on guard. I can't be funny. We were trying to write there, and I was like, every person I'm just having to be on guard with. That's something that I don't know if I'll ever be able to get over.
Well, so even if they weren't talking to you,
yeah,
because
the whole time you saw me the way I was looking at people. It's not the whole situation where I have to sit. All that stuff.
So it wasn't because it is distracting because you haven't been there in a while, so everyone's going to come say hi to you. But you're saying even if no one was saying hi to you, you're going to be on high alert?
I couldn't be funny. That's the thing. After the shooting, when I came back to do comedy, it was really difficult for me because I felt like I was at work and I felt extremely angry and I felt extremely hostile, and everybody that was drunk or that was just a little bit off, which you see a lot, that really makes you. I think if you've dealt with IEDs or if you've dealt with an unexpected shooting or unexpected violence, private message me, or if you want to publicly talk about it, that's cool too. But for me, it's you're constantly having to check people, and you're like, okay, what are they doing? It's not. I can function, I can go, but I don't it's not a place where I want to be relaxed. It's definitely not a place where I can be funny. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay. That's the way I look at it. It's it's so hard for me to be funny in that situation because I have to be relaxed to be funny. I have to be relaxed to be on stage and just joke around. I remember going up on stage and seeing people and being fucking eyeballing them immediately okay, what is this person going to do?
I never realized that part of the reason you quit stand-up comedy was the shooting. I always thought it was just because you're not as funny
as you?
Well, no, that's obvious.
Give me your best joke. There you go. Exactly. Boom. I obviously, if I wanted to do it, it'd be much funnier than Blaze. You guys don't have to ever see his sets to know that I could fucking destroy him in any sort of comedy. I'll tell you why. It's because Blaze. I won't even say it. I'll save that for my Patreon too. But there's a real secret. If you want to privately message me and pay me $5, I'll tell you exactly what's wrong with Blaze. I'll tell you exactly what's wrong. It's a big surprise. You will not expect it, guys.
Okay.
I'm plugging my I'm joking. You're a very funny guy, dude. I don't think that. What are you looking at the other?
I was just looking at the other.
But there's other people that we both know that have PTSD that I think is much more debilitating. That's what I'm trying to say. Is yeah, sure, I was diagnosed with it. Technically, I don't want to do stand up anymore because of it. But
it's in a different way. I feel like you could, but it's just too hard to be in a creative mindset if you're
I don't feel creative anymore.
You're too involved with the environment, kind of.
Exactly. So it's I really didn't like people coming up to me and being oh, what's up? I hate that. Oh, you quit stand up. It's so much more complicated than that, dude. Well, I'm married now. I have a wife that I really want to spend my time trying to be the best person I can be with her. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to be I don't want to come home with that to her and be yeah, I'm fucking ready to go. I'm fucking amped right now. Because that's the thing. It's just I can go out. I just don't like doing certain things anymore.
I come home amped just because I love stand-up comedy so much. I can't.
And you had a couple Jack in the Box, and you had some soda, and you're ready to fucking talk some shit.
Well, yeah, it's just I can't go directly to bed after stand-up comedy. I always end up staying up late.
No, me either, man. But before the shooting, stand-up was my favorite thing in the world, dude.
I bet you could handle it easier if you didn't have to wait around so much at the club. If you could go in, go up, and then leave, you'd probably be fine. But you always have to stand around there for a couple hours at least.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of people that are drunk, which I don't like, just because that situation involved alcohol. But also, it's I've been around drunk people in my private life. I just don't like being around people that are out of control because immediately to me it's And again, if you like, I would love to talk to somebody else who's had that particular type of incident. There's some guys that I knew who on a call, they were treating one patient and another guy came up and he stabbed 2 first responders. And those guys had something similar where it's like, you're dealing with traumatic incidents every day as a first responder. That's kind of part of your job. Seeing certain things is definitely, I would say, depressing and definitely puts life into perspective for you. You know what I mean? Because, like, you know, I've had pediatric CPRs. That's not a fun call to have. I've had pediatric, you know, major trauma. That stuff is not fun. But at the same time, it's like you are mentally prepared for that, or I was anyways. I don't want to speak for everybody because maybe some people aren't and I don't want to disrespect them. But, like, that shit, at least you're somewhat, you should be at least some, for me anyways. Again, I don't want to speak for everybody else. I was mentally prepared for that stuff. Does that make sense? Because it's like, this is kind of what you're going to have to deal with. That's part of the deal. Just like you see some guys in combat who are like shooting like Americans and they're shooting at people and it seems like they're fine. I don't want to speak for them, but it seems like they're okay with that because it's like, I don't know. Again, there's so much nuance. It's incredibly complicated. I would love to talk to somebody else if you've had some sort of similar issue or you feel differently. I would love to hear what they have to say about trauma.
When you were doing stand-up and working on the ambulance, did you ever try to find what's funny about those like pediatric CPR calls?
It's tough. It's tough. That's a tough one. That's like you have to do one joke, and then if it doesn't work out, you're like, all right, well, I'll see you guys never again. Goodbye. Well, no, you know, somebody asked me one time, I don't want to name him, but he was like, hey, have you ever seen a baby die? And I was like, yeah. And then he's like, you should talk about that on stage. And I'm like, why? What's wrong with you? I'm sorry, guys. I just want to say this is the most disorganized podcast, I think. If you honestly, like, what I'm trying to say is, like, I think that genuinely everybody has a validity to having PTSD.
Do you think
some regard.
Your obsession with the podcast being organized is some manifestation of PTSD in your brain? Because you don't want to.
Yeah, you know what?
But
the traumatic incident is you and the way that you lived your life. Chaos.
Well, I don't know. Podcasts that people, they just talk on them.
Yeah, but I want things. I honestly don't even like doing this because it feels so unorganized. I'm just giving my kind of raw thoughts on an issue. But like, okay, you know what? I worked in construction after that, and I met one dude in particular, but a lot of guys who'd been in prison. For sure, you have PTSD from that. Another thing that I think people don't talk about enough is like being from a rough environment. You know, when you go to calls in like super bad areas, there's kids that have seen their parent get shot or killed. There's people that have seen their parent overdose, and it's like we don't give any. That's my other issue with it, and like.
Yeah, people think of like war and violence, but it's like also
it's
just
very specific
childhood
things like
trauma. Yeah.
Childhood trauma, growing up in a bad area. Like we don't give any credit for that sort of thing, and that is also PTSD. Also going to prison. We don't give enough. A particular guy that I knew went to prison at a very young age for a very long time. And he came out and he for sure, like he and I talked about a lot of stuff and like, I don't want to say his name. I don't want to, but Patreon again. But yeah, but like.
Or just ask. If you DM Myles.
If you ask me, I'll tell you. You know who you are. No, but like. I think that we don't really understand PTSD. I think we don't understand the brain, and it's like this fucking medical system just wants to throw shit on you. The VA fucking does it. Anybody who's worked for any sort of government institution knows that they're just like, oh yeah, you got PTSD. Here, why don't you talk to this doctor that doesn't know what you're talking about right now? Literally, I talked to this lady, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, what am I talking to this idiot for? She's like, oh yeah, that would give you some anxiety and stress. It's like, well, yeah, of course. I mean. I don't know what you want me to say. They're just like, you should get some extra. It's just so stupid what the advice that they give you.
All right, calm down. The listeners don't want to hear you get this upset unless it's because of me. I think also
go ahead.
So first responders probably get PTSD more, but isn't it like sometimes surgeons and stuff can get it? I think dentists get it the most.
I saw a dentist kill himself one time. Yeah, he hung himself. He hung himself and. Because, I remember, yeah.
It's because they're the shittiest doctors.
They failed out of medical school. No.
God. Well, no, it's because like they give you more pain. I've never had a doctor that is just like every visit is like
It's going to be more painful.
it's just extremely painful.
And you're also seeing decay all the time. I've heard that really fucks
yeah,
with you.
yeah.
But that's the thing is like I don't know what that experience is. To me, it's like being a dentist. I wouldn't even think twice about it. I don't even, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying is like.
But then you're closer to the emotions if you're a dentist.
Yeah.
Like people,
yeah,
like
sure.
watching people upset about like, oh, this tooth is coming out. You know what I mean? Like all that kind of stuff is kind of like, that's your whole life.
You know what's interesting? There was a kid that we had. It was like a 19-year-old kid, frequent flyer, which is like a call that you have a lot. You know what I mean? Like a person that you have a lot.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Can you talk to my mom? Tell her I'm all right." One time, right? And I talked to his mom, and it was like, whatever. You know what I mean? And then a couple days later, I saw that same kid on a CPR. Somebody else had the call, but I saw him. We were in the ambulance way, and they brought him in. Same kid. I remember thinking about that, and my partner were like, "Ooh, that's that kid." And that emotionally got me more because I was like, okay, I kind of know this kid's life a little bit more. And I remember being like, I'm never fucking, that is just too much for me. So I understand a doctor, like a doctor that deals with cancer all the time. I mean, can you imagine? That's what I'm saying is like PTSD is like a blanket term for like something fucked up happened to you. And we're going to throw drugs at you. And we're going to give you a therapist that probably doesn't work. That's the reality of what our system is. That's what I'm trying to say, is that they don't really know. Everything's different. Again, if you have some form of PTSD or you've been diagnosed or you disagree or agree with me, I'm open to all interpretations. I think that everybody should get free medical care, especially if you've done something in service for our country or our community. You should get free health care for life for that.
Yeah, and I really like when the GoPro goes underwater here. So
you're not listening again. Great.
It's like wait.
And this is more frustrating. Again, this is just being with you. It's just
I'm the comedy. You're
I'm a comedian, but you're forcing me to talk about PTSD. So I'm giving a serious. You said be serious. I'll be funny. So this is what I'm saying. This is more traumatic to me. Is your little gaslighting lies?
Well, I'm not even. You're the one that's getting angry. I was just like, I like when you put the GoPro under this water because it's more clear than I expected it to be, and I think it looks cool. I wish that
put a GoPro on your head, and then I'll fucking shove your face underwater.
That would give me PTSD. Perhaps.
That would give you PTSD, yeah. And then you'd understand. Again, if you had if you were tortured, I wonder what you would be like afterwards. Because I could see you not being affected by a lot of things, to be honest.
Well, I think that I'm just like affected to the max by little things. Like I think I'm sensitive.
I think, but that's the thing is like, you have anxiety, you have horrible social anxiety that I don't have, and that's a form of,
PTSD.
I'm saying that's debilitating in its own right. We don't understand the brain enough to make these. This is all poison oak, by the way.
Wow, that's
to make these deliberations, because there's other guys that have been through crazy stuff, guys and girls, excuse me, that have been through crazy stuff, and they're fine. I don't know. It's like, it's also, I've read that childhood has something to do with it. If you had an unstable childhood, if you don't have supportive people around you, that's another thing. You know what I mean? So those are all different facts. So we don't even know what the human brain. It's just like, to me, it's just like, in a weird way, it's like funny. It's like you don't really.
Yeah, everyone.
Can you define a funny person?
Well, yeah,
I can't.
And not. Well, yeah, you.
Can you define, when you see somebody that's funny? Can you tell me exactly what makes them funny? No.
No, but I know it when I see it.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. The same thing, where it's like, you really don't know about. So yeah, maybe you do have PTSD because to you, the things that you get upset about. This is a kind of cool one. There's a little beetle. The things that you get upset about.
I just got diagnosed with social phobia, anxiety, general anxiety disorder, depression, and ADD. But like, I don't believe any of that. I think I'm perfect. I think
we'll put that. We'll get a little dog collar for you. You'll have that.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Blaze. I have generalized anxiety disorder.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I feel like that stuff kind of goes away too as you get older, because like your hormone level drops. Because like anxiety is like, you feel, it's like a very physical sensation. So as my brain decays and stops making all the feelings that I feel, then I have less of it.
Yeah, you've really been slowing down recently, and I think probably in another 10 years, when you're in a wheelchair in your early 40s, we'll be like, oh, he doesn't really have anxiety anymore. I mean, he can't walk.
Yeah, I feel like I want to just be bedtimes constantly.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. That's another thing too, dude. Is like everybody has something. I don't know. It's like it's just so complicated. It's like you can talk about your own individual struggles.
And then when you meet someone with nothing, then it's like even
weird.
Scarier. Yeah, it's scarier.
Weird. No, honestly, that's what freaks me out is when I meet somebody who has. There's people that
I just feel fine.
They're happy all the time.
What?
It's like kill yourself, dude. You don't deserve to be.
Yeah, but like for real.
For real. Yeah, we're being serious. That's no, I'm joking. I don't mean that, but it's just like
if anyone's
that genuinely gives me anxiety when people don't have any sort of trauma or unrelatable like levels of like just having a very because the thing is, to be fair, we're saying this from a circle of like our background is both like lower class. Nobody in my family, well, I'm saying not in my immediate family, went to college. I don't know about you, but it's like our family, nothing against it, but like, you know, I mean, my dad was in construction, my mom was in, you know, food service. We're not around people that were like on the different spectrum, like really wealthy. Like they probably have different problems. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like their kids typically, I don't think, join the military or aren't first responders. Like those are like blue collar jobs. Like a lot of people I know were in those types of jobs, and some guys, I knew, you know, a lot of the people in my dad's generation were non-vets, and they were all fucked up. You know, your dad fought in Vietnam.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Is like, it's also a class thing, so we don't know. These are just the people that we grew up around in our experiences. Maybe it's different, and they have different problems in a different class. It's so fucking complicated, dude. I just don't think that we should do this we should get this episode and we should delete the whole thing.
Well, yeah, no. Yeah, because this isn't...
Would that annoy you if I was just like, get rid of it all? Because I honestly, I don't think that this is...
It's not that...
This is not funny.
Well, because you're not letting me talk.
Okay, go ahead, do some jokes, you fucking idiot. Go.
Okay, hey guys, any couples listening? How long have you guys been married? I'm practicing...
Oh, what do you do for work? Oh!
Oh, you're first responder? What do you got, PTSD?
Got him. That would get him for sure if somebody was heckling. I told some guy that one time. I remember he said he was in the military, and I was like, "Oh, so you fought in a war to be annoying at a comedy show? Is that why you did that?" And I was like, "Thank you for your service, but shut the fuck up." That's what I told him, and it got him because I was like, "Look, dude, I called you out on your bullshit, you know, because like you're still being an asshole in this moment."
Yeah.
He was an Iraqi soldier. He didn't understand English, so he was yelling.
Right. I think that's enough on PTSD.
Okay, well, yeah. Why don't we? Okay, so what do you want to talk about now?
Well, you're gonna tell a story about how when you were in Mexico, about
being attacked by monkeys. Oh yeah, and also I got attacked by monkey. My parents took me to this fucking cheap zoo when I was a kid, and a couple spider monkeys. I was teasing them when I was a small child, and they attacked me, and they fucking threw me up against the cage repeatedly. And then they filmed it, and then they were laughing, and then it was like it scratched me up and shit. I was in the middle of nowhere in Mexico. Yeah. Is that PTSD?
Yeah.
Being attacked by monkeys? Because I swear to God, dude, now if I saw a monkey, I would put it in a fucking headlock. No joke.
Well,
it's not PTSD. It's just fuck monkeys.
I just think it's funny, just like our childhood, like that's just like a thing that can happen.
That's what I'm saying. Is like
they would just let it.
It's like you talk to your parents about this stuff, and it's like they don't. I could literally tell my parents anything about anything that I would consider traumatic, and even if it is to them, they're just like, "All right." Yeah.
When I was like a little kid, I was watching my cousin surf in Mexico on the beach, and they have horses that you give them $5 and you can ride it. Like they'll like pull a horse for you on the beach. So there's horses on the beach running around, and while I was watching them surf, a horse that got loose from like the horse pen ran over me, like, and it kicked me. And, like,
that's why you are the way you are.
So, but not in the head though. It was on the chest, so I had like a hoof print on my chest for that whole week. It wasn't because
and your parents are just like, shake it off.
Yeah, nothing happened. They just no. Yeah. But it wasn't bad though, because it's not like it kicked me with its back leg like an actual kick. It just ran over me. You know what I mean? And plus you're light, so it just kind of steps on you, and then I just literally had a bruise in the shape of a on my chest.
So sick, dude.
Yeah,
I wish I
would
could
have
have given
tattooed
that.
it.
I wish I could have given that horse a high five, dude.
Yeah.
Horse, I'm from the future. Thank you so much for doing that because he needed a kick in the chest.
Yeah. So
you know what's funny? Actually, something very similar happened to me in Mexico. We were coming in on a boat. The boat had a leak. I was a little kid, same thing, and I fell over the side of the boat, and the boat ran me over, but it was against the sand, so I was literally stuck underneath the inflatable boat, and I was pushing up, and I was like suffocating basically. And then I finally got out. You know, they dragged me out, but it was like it was like 2 minutes of being like suffocated there, right? And
that could give you PTSD too.
Everybody
you've had
was
too
just,
much trauma. We can't figure.
But
out
I mean, everybody was just like, and I
I
didn't even think about it again. I was just remembering it now. I was like, well, yeah, whatever. It's not that.
They probably didn't know you were suffocating.
I remember being suffocating. It's that feeling of like being trapped underneath like two different spaces.
But they probably just didn't consider it. It's just like, oh, he was under the boat.
The guy was like, I was suffocating, and he was like, yeah. That's all he said.
Yeah. Damn, dude.
Well,
another thing, my cousin was on one of those horses that was like, sometimes I guess those horses aren't vetted down there. And
no.
And this one went wild and like
they race, they have sex with women, and then eventually you just can ride them on the beach when they're finally in their twilight, when they're done having sex with women for money.
My cousin was like, she's like a 12-year-old girl, and she was in a dress riding one, and it like broke free and ran through one of those sewage runoff things.
Oh god!
And then she fell off the horse into the the runoff.
Well, that shit's funny. I mean, I don't know. It's like that's a bad day. Get over it. That's what I mean. Is like that's the other thing too. Is like maybe all PTSD is made up.
Well, I don't think that came from PTSD.
No, I was just joking, but I was just saying like it'd be funny if that's all just. Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. Is like, dude, I don't. Oh god. You changed it. You changed it.
Come on, that's
stupid
cool.
Yellow fucking. Oh god.
I think it looks cool.
This looks horrible.
One time I got lost in Mexico. Did I ever tell you that story? It was
no. How'd you get lost in Mexico?
I was with my mom and her friend in those little shops where there's just like a shop every 10 feet, and it's they just got away from me, and I couldn't find them. So what I did, instead of like waiting in one spot, is walk back to the house we were staying at. Which was like
very Blaze Tricoli logic.
I just left, yeah. But then when I got back, the door was locked, so I had to like, and then
hello, do you speak English? Hello, do you speak English? I'm a sweet one.
And then I was waiting there for so long, I ended up like sitting down or laying down in front of the door. So when my mom got back to the house, she was freaking out even more because she doesn't see me there. So when she walked up, and then I stood up, and I was like, "Oh, hey, Mom," and then she just started beating me because she was because that's just how it. I think I was like 11 or 12. Or actually, you know what? I was 9 years old. I was 9, so I guess I was little enough. But like at 9, I did not feel like a small child.
That's the funniest thing about that generation is like literally because I had the same experiences as a kid where it's like any emotion they feel towards you is just going to come out in violence.
Yeah, they're just
like, let me just hit you again and again and again because you scared me. You were a kid and you didn't. I remember so many times it's like around that age where you do something that like a child would do. The problem is with you is you still do those same 9-year-old things, but you do something that a child would do, and they're just like, whatever their emotions are, it's like, well, I should hit my child now. Because that's how they know not to do that again. That's so funny to me. That's what I mean is our, like, you know...
But I did walk around the store for a little, and I just couldn't find him, so I went home. I don't know.
I mean, it's understandable as a child to do that, but it's just so funny the way that...
It probably was way too fast, though. I probably went home, like, it probably was like 30 seconds.
You're ADD, for sure.
It felt like forever.
You probably turned around and you're like, well, they're not directly in my line of eyes, so I should just go eyesight, so I should just go away. Yeah, I mean, long and short of it is, everybody has mental health problems, okay? It's whether or not you can use those to make money that matters. If you can monetize your mental health problems, if you can be a guy that follows, car crashes like Jake Gyllenhaal, and you take video of it and you make money off of that, great. Welcome to America. You know what I mean? I hate what you did to this scene, and it's fucking making me so mad.
You don't like this? I think that this one looks like
so stupid. It looks so fucking dumb.
Well, I didn't know it was this long of a clip. I usually try to do like the extreme stuff with shorter clips, but I think it looks super cool.
It's so creepy. I don't like it at all. That's the thing is like...
It does look creepy. That's what I like about it.
You know what's funny, though? Imagine being abducted by aliens if aliens are real. That would give you PTSD, and nobody would believe you.
Yeah, then it's like you don't even have it because no one believes about the thing happened to you.
Travis Walton, that guy, he's a pretty famous UFO case.
I think this looks awesome. I don't even really remember making this change.
You don't remember this? Okay. Yeah.
Well,
Why
I
would
just
you
did.
remember changing it to the Black Hole Sun video? Why would you remember that? Fucking idiot, dude. Fucking idiot.
Oh no.
No, but like Travis Walton, like that guy who got abducted, his story is horrifying. And then who do you fucking talk to about doctors like like you're like telling this traumatic story and it's real and the doctor's like, okay, well you're crazy. The doctor's just like, yeah, so my patient's a fucking idiot. He thinks that he got kidnapped by aliens.
Even if it's not real, still would be the same thing, right? If you think it's real, yeah.
Either way, there's something wrong with you.
Well, if you think it's real, you could still get PTSD theoretically. Like if you believe it's
If you
real,
think it's real.
Like what is your brain doesn't know?
VR in the future, I think that like VR. What if you play a VR video game and you get PTSD from fucking
dude? That's how you know
some fucking 13-year-old. You know,
that's
calling
how
you a racial slur.
That's how you know the Battlefield is like a good game. Oh, this one's great. It gives you
Oh
PTSD.
man, I have shakes all the time now from it. It's a great game.
Yeah, my little brother couldn't handle it. He doesn't even talk anymore.
Forget second grade. This guy is pretty shell shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess I really don't like how disorganized this was. But I was being as honest as I can be, and I think you were being as honest as you could be in your own little way, in your own little tricks, in your own little bag of tricks.
Yeah. Well,
that's the way I would describe you.
I'm sorry, it's not organized enough for you.
Well, I mean, it's too late to start it all over because it's late. But I think that's the way I feel about it in general, and I think that's the way that. Because we know other people that I feel like are greatly affected by PTSD, and I feel for them that is such a fucking shitty thing to go through. But with me, it just makes me a more entertaining guy, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You know, I'll pop off on people. The only time I really say I have PTSD is when I'm getting in an argument with like a social justice warrior type person. That's the only time I'll say it.
You just use it for credibility, like
just to be like, look, I have PTSD, so I can say this word and that word, and I can just talk a bunch of shit.
You say the R word.
I can say the R word, yeah. Did I say that on? I don't know if we should believe that or not, but yeah. I mean, that's just the reality of it. You know, you should really only use your PTSD to get things that you want later in life. No, I'm kidding. But
this is such a cool shot.
This is
terrible. I can watch a whole movie like this.
This is so.
You really
bad.
don't like it?
No, I hate it.
Why?
Well, because
I think the color scheme's cool. I think it looks creepy. I think it looks like
okay, but that's not the way that it should be.
Oh, it's about to end.
Oh no!
All right, I think that's all.
Okay, goodbye, everybody.
How's that for organization?